Hello everyone, my name is Aaron and this is the Game Day Hour. Welcome back to another episode. I was off for a week. I took a week off and don't worry, I still did everything I could on social media. If you were following on Twitter, you saw exactly what I was doing for college football and NFL and my predictions and fantasy and rankings and everything. So I'm up to date on those things. But yeah, I took a week off. I had a pretty rough weekend a couple weeks back, and I decided to take that entire week off to focus on exams and other things. But I am back, and here we are going to be skipping over week 5 of college football and taking a look at week 6. We're of course going to go back to see the matchups, my predictions, and the new rankings, so stay tuned for that. Anyways, let's get started. I'm bringing back Texas A&M for the simple fact that their last 2 games since the Miami loss have been really good. Arkansas, of course, has been a pretty good team all year, kind of average but still pretty good, and Auburn at the time when A&M played them was undefeated, and they won both games seamlessly. So they're in the top 25 for now, but got Alabama up next. Louisville has Notre Dame next, but prior to Notre Dame, they have been undefeated and flawless with a win over North Carolina State. So they're going to be in it at 24, but let's see how long they stay in it. As for Duke, a big drop for Duke after their loss to Notre Dame and the loss of their quarterback, but they're staying in the top 25 due to their defense being very dominant. So that's why they're going to stay in. Fresno State has been in it for a little bit, but they're not jumping super high. They get to go up because of teams losing above them, but 22 is kind of where they are. They haven't played anyone super significant, and the Nevada is winless, so they're not going to make a big jump. But they got Wyoming next, and Wyoming is a step up from Nevada, so we'll see. And lastly, Kentucky. Kentucky had one of the more impressive wins over Florida, but now they got the number 1 Georgia to deal with, so things are not looking that great for Kentucky, but we'll see if they can live up to the challenge. Missouri jumps into the top 20 after their win over Vanderbilt, but they got a very tough test in number 19 LSU coming to town. LSU played in a shootout and lost to number 18 Ole Miss, and now Ole Miss sitting at number 18 after their loss to Alabama. They dropped, and now they rise again after that impressive win. So that is 20 through 18. They're all connected right now. As for Miami was off for the week, but they get to move up because some teams above them lost. And Oregon State, they were at 25, and they just made this huge jump to 16 after a dominant win over Utah. And Utah, they're gone for now, but they can be back. I'm looking at the top 25, and that might be just a tiny mistake not keeping Utah in there, but a big win for Utah next week will probably bring them back into the top 25. I just now thought about that. So admittedly, that Utah drop out of the top 25 was a mistake on my end, but a win and they're back in. I'll give them that. I made a mistake, sorry. But I did not make a mistake here. Washington State is on fire, and now they have UCLA up next. They got some tough matchups up ahead, but this should be pretty good for them. Of course, they had a bye week, and so did North Carolina, who is now 14 after some drops up above. And now they have Syracuse, who lost to Clemson, but still pretty challenging. Tennessee, I never dropped them that far, and now they're back up to 13. They had a big win over South Carolina, and now they get to take the rest of the week off. Until afterwards, of course. Alabama is moving back to number 12. Alabama has A&M, but they had a big win over Mississippi State. So we'll see how Bama fares against A&M. And then Washington, Washington slowly but surely is jumping my rankings at an alarming rate. They're in the top 10 in the college football rankings, but for me, they did not seem like that big of a powerhouse, but they're slowly working their way up. And right now they're at number 11, but they get to take the week off, so good on them. I didn't drop Notre Dame due to that Ohio State loss because it was an extremely close loss at the last second. But they bring it back a week later with their last-minute touchdown against Duke and being able to hold on for the victory. They're back in the top 10, and they're going to kind of sit here for a little bit because I don't think many teams are going to be falling above them, except for probably one. Number 9, Oklahoma has a tough task against Texas. They've been undefeated and dominant so far, but this is going to be the toughest matchup they might play all year long. So we'll see how the Sooners fare. Oregon is on fire. They are an extremely dangerous team. A college football playoff contention for sure. Same with USC. I'm not sure why they keep dropping USC. Right now they're at number 9, but they've been dropping USC. I don't know why. But this last win over Colorado was pretty scary because they almost blew an entirely, completely big lead. And then Penn State, cruise control so far, but they're about to hit their big matchup soon. So hold on, Penn State. You got some real challenges ahead of you. The top 5 stays intact for the most part, except for Florida State jumping to number 5. They jumped to number 5 last week, and they've been here since. They didn't play anyone. They had a bye week, and they have Virginia Tech up next. To me, that should be an easy win for them. Ohio State had their bye week, and now they have Maryland ahead, which could be a little challenging, but not too challenging. Texas has Oklahoma, and that's going to be one of the toughest challenges among all these teams. But number 3 is where they're at. Big win over Kansas. And Michigan, big win over Nebraska. Now they're up against Minnesota, who will be a pretty tough challenge for them. And lastly, Georgia. Georgia has Kentucky. This will be the toughest team Georgia's played so far. Won't be the toughest team I think they play all year, but we'll see. But the Bulldogs and Michigan, those two teams have not been talked about a lot this year. They haven't really been playing anybody significant, and Georgia's now playing someone super significant. And yeah, finally we get to talk about them just a little bit. Now it's time to get to the predictions. Last week I went 5-2. The week prior I went 4-3, which means these last 2 weeks I went 9-5 altogether. So I've been pretty successful. But we'll see what happens this week. There are also some very tough matchups. First up, LSU, who's ranked number 19, versus Missouri, who's ranked number 20. I don't know what's going on with LSU, but they clearly don't have a great defense right now, and their offense, on the other hand, is extremely great. Missouri, on the other hand, they didn't really play that many great teams, except for Kansas State. Overall, I'm going to go with LSU to win this game. It's going to be really tough, but I just don't know if Missouri possesses the pieces to beat an LSU. So I'm going to go with the Tigers. Next up, we have number 15 Washington State versus UCLA. UCLA played super duper struggling against Utah a couple weeks back. Washington State beat Oregon State. Oregon State beat Utah. But that's really not why I'm going to pick Washington State. I just think Washington State has a better quarterback and has a better overall team. A team that I think can go extremely far in the conference this year. So I'm going to go with the Cougars to win. Alabama versus Texas A&M. Now this is going to be a tough matchup. I think A&M is really going to give Alabama all they can handle. But I'm going to pick Alabama in an extremely high-scoring close game, similar to one that happened 2 years ago when A&M won. However, I don't know if A&M has the pieces Alabama right now, but I guess we'll see. You know, these are the type of games where you want to pick A&M because you know A&M can do it, but I don't know. I'm going to stick with the Crimson Tide that wins. Number 21 Kentucky versus number 1 Georgia. You give all the props to Kentucky for that win over Florida. 280 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. That was their number 1 running back. That's some tough numbers. But you're playing Georgia's defense, and Georgia, even though they haven't really played anyone aside from South Carolina and a little bit of Auburn, that is a rivalry though. Guys, can I really pick Kentucky to beat Georgia? I don't think. I have to go with the Bulldog. I understand that Kentucky can pose a risk, but it's not going to happen. Georgia is going to beat Kentucky. Number 10 Notre Dame versus number 24 Louisville. Whew! I thought I was going to suffer back-to-back disappointing weeks, but Notre Dame pulled it out against Duke, and that was close. That gives me a lot of respect for Duke, but man, I was very frustrated the entire game up until that last drive. I mean, Notre Dame, I think a win like that for Notre Dame has generally always been a good thing, because the next week they really start to turn it on. Louisville's going to be tough. I think that Louisville's going to keep it close for at least 45 minutes, but I think in the fourth quarter, Notre Dame will take over once again. I have the Irish winning this game. I know most of the time I'm going to probably pick the Irish, but I just think of these legitimate chances for Notre Dame, and definitely against someone like Louisville. I mean, I respect Louisville's 5-0 start, but this is going to be the toughest team that they potentially play all year, aside from Florida State, if they do play Florida. So we'll see. And of course, the game of the week, the Red River rivalry, a matchup that happens an hour away from me in Dallas. Oklahoma and Texas. Horns down or horns up is the question. Oklahoma's number 9. I mean, they have basically blown out every single team they played except for Cincinnati, who they beat by 14 points. Texas, on the other hand, they got beating Alabama and a ranked Kansas team under their belt. So this is going to be the toughest team Oklahoma plays all year long, and for Texas, it's like playing Alabama again. I like Oklahoma as far as their offense goes, but I believe that the Longhorns will end up winning. I mean, they just have the right quarterback for the right job. I have a lot of faith in Quinn Ewers. I think he's going to be such a big prospect in the NFL. And, I mean, that quarterback room is just straight up lethal. Lethal. So, yeah, I'm going to definitely pick Texas to win this game. But expect from both teams, super high scoring matchup. That's the Red River rivalry way. And that'll do it for today's episode. Again, sorry for last week. We're back to regular scheduling in case something else comes up. But it is a very busy school year, so we'll see. Anyways, I hope you guys have a great day. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed. And if you do, please leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe. Go follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I know I've been kind of struggling to go onto TikTok, but I don't know. I haven't really always used TikTok, so I'm still getting used to it. Follow me on Twitter. That's where I post a lot of my stuff if I am doing more than just posting videos on there and I'm just doing interactions. You can always talk to me there. I don't check it every day, but I check it pretty often. So if you want to comment down below, you can go ahead. And fantasy football stuff. Again, next episode is going to be for the NFL. We got a pretty good week ahead of us. And yeah, that'll do it. Hope you guys have a great day. Take care and goodbye.